your Granny's Bake Shop. So many people I've talked to, and I've said I make bread. They say, you make bread? Bread's like a mystery to some people, and for me it's just like rolling off a log. I've already put the 5 pounds of flour right off the grocery shelf, a 5-pound bag of bread flour, 3 tablespoons of butter in the flour, and this is going to take a few minutes to mix it all up. 4 ounces of dried milk, which I'm going to put into the flour. Two ounces of granular or dried yeast, 3 ounces of sugar, 2 ounces of salt, and then I make sure that the ingredients are all mixed well into the flour, and I do this with my hands. The next step in bread making is putting the water in. 6 cups of warm water. Make sure it doesn't get over 140 degrees. 140 degrees kills the yeast. I'm going to pour all of the water in at one time. And then I'm going to stir it up real good. The next thing you do in the process is to dump your dough on the counter or whatever you work on in the well of flour. I put about 2 cups of flour on the counter, and I'm just going to dump the dough out. And I'm going to start the kneading process. You can see that there's a lot of loose flour, and that's fine. Kneading dough is a simple process of pulling and folding. You're folding, and that's called kneading. Fold, pull, and fold. And I do this for about 8 minutes. See how smooth it's starting to look? And when you feel your ball starting to stick to the bottom, that means that you got to get more flour right in the sticky part. Every baker needs is a scraper like this. It's a baker's best friend. In kneading, the most important part is when you push down on your dough ball, it creates very strong strings of protein cells. When you use yeast, those cells trap air in strings of protein. That's what makes your bread raise. Fold and push. Fold toward you and push. The pan we use to mix up the dough, I've coated with oil, and I'm going to drop the dough ball in the oil-coated pan, because this is the time in the process where the dough has to set. First, I'm going to make sure that all parts of the dough has gotten some oil on it. Turn it over, slap it a little, and cover it up. I'm having my break while the dough's in the process of raising. We've had our cup of tea, and now I want to show you what the dough looks like now. Put it in a bowl, and this is the result. We had it in there for about an hour. I'm going to chop the dough now into 1-pound loaves, and I've got my kitchen scales that you can get at any hardware store. 1 pound. The next step in the baker's jargon is to round the dough. And what that means is you take one of the 16-ounce pieces and you just start smoothing out the top, folding in the bottom until you have a kind of round piece of dough, and you round it out just like they do in the pizza shop. And you place it there because it's going to have a time again where the yeast is going to act. The next step in bread making is to shape the loaves. Some bakers use a rolling pin to flatten it out, but I just use my hands. tuck in the ends, roll the bread up into looks like a loaf. It depends on your style or what your fancy is. And I put it into a little pan. And this is I'm going to make the loaves, and then they're going to sit there and rest again. I'm going to cover our loaves of bread, and they're going to rest again, maybe as much as a half hour, because we want them to look like a loaf of bread when we put them into the oven. Now the loaves are ready to bake, and I've turned on the oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to place the loaves in there, and it's going to be about a half-hour bake time. Time to get the bread out and see the results of our hard work. And you can see it has a nice brown color, and that's what we want. I'm going to coat these with some kind of oil, and it'll make our loaves very shiny. The joy of baking is tasting the final results. Slice of bread, butter, and it's yummy.